Ladies and gentlemen, imagine standing in front of a room full of people, your heart racing, palms sweating, and every fiber of your being screaming, "I can't do this!" Now imagine the same room, same people, same stage, and you stand there calm, composed, radiating confidence, speaking with clarity and passion. The difference between these two moments is not luck, not talent, not some magic formula. It's daily action. You see, confidence is not something you are born with. It's something you cultivate, something you grow, something you earn every single day. And yet, so many people wait for a perfect moment, a magic opportunity, or some grand event to unlock their confidence. They wait, they hesitate, and their potential passes them by. But here's the truth. Self-confidence is not a sudden gift. It's a byproduct of consistent, small actions taken every single day. The secret is simple, yet few practice it. The daily habits you choose, the words you speak to yourself, the challenges you embrace, the failures you face, and the victories you celebrate, they all shape the person who walks into the room today and the person who will confidently walk into the room tomorrow. And that, my friends, is why you cannot afford to leave this moment. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal to you 6 practical, actionable principles that, when applied daily, will transform the way you see yourself and how the world sees you. Principles that don't rely on luck, circumstances, or other people. They rely on you, your commitment, your discipline, your action. By the end of this speech, you will understand how to take simple, deliberate steps every day that gradually, inevitably, and powerfully build self-confidence, and how these steps can ripple in every area of your life, career, relationships, health, and personal growth. So, if you've ever wished to feel bold in your decisions, unshakable in your self-belief, and unstoppable in your pursuit of goals, stay with me. Because these 6 keynotes will not just teach you confidence, they will give you a roadmap to live it every single day. When it comes to building self-confidence, most people make one critical mistake. They aim too high too fast. They look at the mountain of their goals and say, "I can't climb that, I'm not ready. Maybe tomorrow," and tomorrow never comes. But here's the truth: confidence is not born in giant leaps. It is forged in small, deliberate victories taken consistently over time. Think about it. Every expert you admire, every person who seems naturally confident, every leader you respect, they didn't wake up one morning fully confident. They started with small wins. And those small wins built upon each other, creating momentum, creating belief, creating a sense of personal power that cannot be shaken. The principle is simple. D-Star: start small, win small, and eventually you win big. It's the compound effect of daily action applied to your self-confidence. Let me explain how this works. Imagine you're learning to speak in public. The thought alone terrifies you. Your knees shake, your hands tremble, and your voice wobbles. Now, if you say, "I have to give a 30-minute speech to 100 people tomorrow," you're setting yourself up for failure. But what if you start smaller? What if your first action is simply speaking in front of a mirror for 5 minutes? Then maybe you speak to a friend, then a small group of colleagues, and gradually to larger audiences. Each small step is a victory, and each victory increases your confidence incrementally. It's important to understand why small wins are so powerful. Confidence is like a muscle. It grows stronger with exercise. But if you try to lift a weight that's too heavy too soon, you strain yourself and give up. By starting small, you allow yourself to train your confidence muscle safely and effectively. Every time you accomplish a small action, your brain records it as proof. I can do this. I am capable. I am improving. And that proof builds belief, the most important ingredient in confidence. Here's another example. Let's say you want to become more assertive in your workplace. You don't start by confronting your boss about a major issue. Instead, you start small. You speak up in a meeting to share one idea. Then you ask a question. Then you offer a suggestion. Each small action is a seed, and as you continue planting seeds, they grow into trees of undeniable confidence. Soon, the thought of contributing, speaking, or even leading no longer scares you. It excites you. But there's more to this principle than just take small steps. Small wins must be intentional and consistent. You can't randomly take actions here and there and expect confidence to magically appear. You must set a daily plan for growth, a series of achievable actions that push you slightly beyond your comfort zone each day. Maybe it's one new conversation a day, one small risk, one skill practiced. Whatever it is, consistency turns small actions into habits, and habits turn into a confident lifestyle. Let me share a story. There was a young man, let's call him David. David had a dream of running his own business, but he had zero confidence in his ability to lead. He looked at entrepreneurs and thought, "I could never do that." Then one day he decided to take a small step. He started by writing a simple business plan, just 1 page, 1 hour at a time. Each day he added a little more. Each week he shared his plan with a mentor. Each month he tried a small experiment in the market. Those small actions taken consistently built his belief in himself. 3 years later, David was leading a company with confidence he never imagined possible. It all started with small, consistent wins. This principle also applies to personal development and relationships. Confidence is not only about achievements, it's about proving to yourself that you are capable of handling challenges. If you want to feel confident in social settings, start with a smile to a stranger, compliment a coworker, say hello to someone new. Each tiny action proves to your mind that you are socially capable. Each small success builds momentum, and before you know it, you are navigating social situations with ease and self-assurance. Here's the beauty of small wins: they create a chain reaction. One small success fuels another. It builds momentum that is unstoppable. And when that momentum grows, it changes your identity. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who lacks confidence and start seeing yourself as a confident person, someone who takes action, someone who solves problems, someone who grows. And identity is the most powerful force in building lasting confidence. So how do you start? Simple. Identify one action today that feels slightly uncomfortable but achievable. Do it. Celebrate it. Reflect on it. Repeat tomorrow. Each day add another small action. Over weeks, months, and years, these small victories compound into a life of undeniable self-confidence. Remember this: confidence is not a sudden leap. It is a staircase built one step at a time. Each step matters. Each small win counts. Start small, win small, and eventually you will win big, not just in confidence, but in every area of your life. Because confidence is not just a feeling, it's the foundation upon which success, happiness, and fulfillment are built. So take that first small step today. Speak up once. Smile once. Take action once. Your confidence is waiting for you on the other side of that small, deliberate victory. And as you continue, you will realize something incredible. The small steps are what lead to the biggest triumphs of your life. One of the most overlooked and yet most powerful tools for building self-confidence is something you do every single day: the words you speak to yourself. That's right. Confidence begins in your mind, in the private conversations you have with yourself. And if you are not careful, those conversations can be your biggest enemy. Most people go through life talking to themselves like a critic, a harsh teacher, or an opponent in a boxing ring. You're not ready. You'll never succeed. Why even try? Every negative thought chips away at self-confidence, quietly eroding the belief that you are capable, strong, or worthy. And because your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it over time, these words shape the reality of your life. But here's the empowering truth: you can change your inner dialogue. You can choose to speak to yourself with encouragement, with clarity, with power. You can choose to become your own coach, your own motivator, your own champion. And when you do, your confidence begins to grow naturally, almost effortlessly. Think about it like this: every confident person you admire has an inner voice that supports them. They make mistakes, they face rejection, they stumble, but their inner voice whispers, "You can handle this, you've done it before, you'll do it again." This isn't luck or magic, it's a deliberate practice, cultivated every day. And it's a practice you can start today. So how do you begin speaking to yourself with power? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts. Listen to your inner voice. Ask yourself, am I empowering myself or disempowering myself with these words? Awareness is the first step because you can't change what you don't notice. Next comes intention. Decide to replace negative, limiting statements with empowering ones. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I will do my best and learn along the way." Instead of thinking, "I'm not ready," say, "I am preparing myself every day to succeed." These small changes in language may feel awkward at first, but language is powerful and repetition creates new neural pathways in the brain, rewiring it for confidence. Affirmations are a practical tool here, but they work only if they are specific, positive, and repeated daily. Don't say vague things: "Oh, I am confident." Instead, say, "I am fully capable of speaking up in meetings and sharing my ideas clearly and calmly," or "I am prepared to face challenges today with courage and clarity." Notice how these statements are active, measurable, and tied to action. That's what makes them effective. Another essential part of speaking to yourself with power is eliminating self-criticism and comparison. Confidence is fragile when it depends on measuring yourself against others. Instead of thinking, "I'm not as good as them," reframe it: "I am on my own journey, improving every day, and my progress matters." When you focus on your growth instead of comparison, you strengthen your self-belief. Let me share a story. There was a woman named Sarah, a talented writer who constantly doubted herself. Every time she sat down to write, her mind bombarded her with, "This isn't good enough." Her dreams of publishing seemed impossible. Then one day, she decided to change her self-talk. Each morning, she stood in front of the mirror and said, "I am a skilled writer. My words have value. Today, I will take one step closer to my goal." It felt strange at first, almost silly. But she repeated it daily. Slowly, her fear faded, her confidence grew. Within a year, she completed her first book and found her voice as a writer, all because she spoke to herself with power every single day. Here's the thing: confidence is not about ignoring fear or failure. It's about speaking to yourself in a way that empowers you to act despite fear, despite uncertainty. When you replace doubt with encouragement, hesitation with action, and self-criticism with self-belief, you begin to take bolder steps in life. And with each step, confidence grows. Another powerful practice is visualization combined with positive self-talk. Before an important meeting, a presentation, or a challenging conversation, take a few minutes to see yourself succeeding in your mind. Speak affirmations aloud as you do it. I am calm. I am prepared. I handle this situation with clarity and confidence. Your subconscious mind begins to believe it, and your actions naturally align with that belief. Consistency is critical. Just like a muscle, your confidence grows stronger with regular exercise. Speak to yourself with power every morning, every night, and whenever doubt arises. Make it a daily ritual. Your inner dialogue shapes your feelings shape your actions, and your actions shape your results. Change your words, and you change your life. Finally, remember this: you are the sum of your thoughts and words. If you nourish your mind with empowering language, daily affirmations, and positive self-talk, you cultivate confidence that no challenge can shake. You begin to see yourself not as someone limited by fear, but as someone capable of facing life's opportunities with courage, clarity, and conviction. So start today. Notice the words you say to yourself. Replace doubt with belief. Replace criticism with encouragement. Speak with power, act with courage, and watch as your self-confidence grows every single day. Because confidence is not given, it is spoken, believed, and lived. If there is one single truth that separates people who live confident, fulfilling lives from those who remain stuck, it is this: confidence grows on the other side of discomfort. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you are stretching your capacity, strengthening your courage, and telling yourself, I am capable of more than I thought. Most people misunderstand what a comfort zone really is. It's not just a place of physical ease, it's a mental and emotional space where life feels safe, predictable, and risk-free. And while comfort feels good in the moment, it is also the greatest enemy of growth. When you stay within its boundaries, you never experience the challenges, failures, and victories that forge self-confidence. Let's be clear: stepping out of your comfort zone does not mean taking reckless risks or acting without preparation. It means taking deliberate, calculated actions that stretch your limits just enough to create growth without breaking your spirit. It's the daily practice of doing things that feel slightly uncomfortable, slightly scary, or slightly uncertain. Here's why it works. Confidence is not a gift, it's earned through experience. And experience is born when you face situations that challenge you. Think about the last time you did something new. Perhaps you spoke in a meeting, asked someone for help, or tried a new skill. Remember how nervous you were. Remember how your heart raced. And yet, when you completed it, you felt something incredible, a sense of achievement, pride, and belief in yourself. That feeling is confidence. And the more often you face challenges, the stronger that confidence becomes. Consider the story of a man named Michael. Michael was afraid of public speaking. Even a small group of colleagues made him anxious. But he knew that if he wanted to grow in his career, he had to speak up. So he started small, presenting a 5-minute update in team meetings. It was uncomfortable. He stumbled. His hands shook. But each time, he improved slightly. Over time, he volunteered for larger presentations, then workshops, and eventually keynote speeches. Every step outside his comfort zone strengthened his confidence, and each step made the next one easier. Michael's transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened because he consistently chose discomfort over stagnation. Now, let's talk about why daily action is so important in this process. Stepping out of your comfort zone once a month might produce a small burst of confidence, but true, lasting self-belief comes from daily practice. Each day, ask yourself, what small action today can stretch me just a little? It might be speaking up in a meeting, approaching a new person, trying a new skill, or tackling a task you've been avoiding. Daily discomfort compounds. Each time you succeed, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. But here's the challenge: discomfort triggers fear. Our minds are wired to avoid it. And this is where most people give up. They hesitate, they make excuses, they stay in the safe zone, convincing themselves that growth will come without risk. But it doesn't. Real confidence comes when you act despite fear, despite uncertainty. Action before confidence is the key. You do not wait until you feel brave. You become brave by taking action. Let me give you a simple framework for daily discomfort. Think of it as the 3-step stretch. Identify one small, uncomfortable action today, something that feels slightly scary but achievable. Take the action immediately. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Action builds momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Reflect and celebrate. No matter the outcome, recognize that stepping outside your comfort zone is a victory in itself. The magic happens in the reflection. Each time you acknowledge your courage, you are rewiring your mind to associate discomfort with growth and possibility. Over time, your threshold for fear expands, and you begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities. Let's bring this closer to home. Confidence is not just about public speaking, leadership, or career achievements. It's about life. It's about relationships, health, personal goals, and daily choices. Want to improve your health? Step out of your comfort zone and exercise when you'd rather stay on the couch. Want to improve your relationships? Start conversations that feel awkward. Want to grow professionally? Take on projects that intimidate you. In every area, confidence grows when you challenge yourself. Here's a final story to illustrate this. There was a young woman named Lisa who dreamed of traveling alone to a foreign country. The thought terrified her. She worried about language barriers, safety, and the unknown, but she committed to stepping out of her comfort zone. She started small solo day trips in her city, talking to strangers, navigating new experiences alone. Each small success gave her the courage to take bigger steps. Eventually, she traveled alone for 2 weeks across Europe, confident, capable, and transformed. What seemed impossible was achieved through daily, deliberate acts of courage. So remember this, your comfort zone is a cage. It feels safe, but it limits your potential. Every day, choose discomfort. Step slightly outside your boundaries. Embrace challenges, stretch yourself. Because self-confidence is not something you find. It's something you create by choosing action over ease, courage over fear, and growth over comfort. Start today. Identify one small and comfortable action. Take it. Repeat. Over time, you will not just build confidence, you will transform your life. Confidence is not just about feeling good or thinking positively. It is grounded in competence. The more skilled you become, the more capable you feel. And the more capable you feel, the more naturally confident you behave. In other words, to build lasting self-confidence, you must master your skills. When you commit to improving yourself daily, you gain control over your life, and with control comes confidence. Think about it this way. Imagine two people walking into a room to give a presentation. One has studied, rehearsed, and practiced for weeks. The other is winging it, unsure of what to say. Who will walk in confidently? Who will project authority, calm, and self-assurance? The answer is obvious. Skill breeds confidence. Yet, so many people avoid skill development because it requires effort, patience, and consistency. They think confidence is something that happens magically, or that natural talent is the key. But here's the truth. Talent without practice is fragile. Skill with discipline is unstoppable. Confidence is the byproduct of deliberate practice. Let's break down how mastering your skills translates into mastering yourself. First, skills give you competence, and competence leads to self-trust. When you know that you have prepared, practiced, and refined your abilities, you trust yourself to handle challenges. Self-trust is the foundation of self-confidence. You don't need constant reassurance from others. You don't need to hide behind excuses. You know you are ready. Second, skills give you control over outcomes. Life is unpredictable. The more capable you are in your craft, the less you fear the unknown. You may face challenges, but you know how to respond. That sense of control reduces anxiety and uncertainty and builds confidence naturally. Now, how do you go about mastering your skills? The process is simple in principle, but requires discipline and practice. Identify the skill that matters most. What is the one ability that, if improved, would significantly impact your confidence and success? It could be public speaking, leadership, writing, sales, or even emotional intelligence. Focus on one skill at a time. Break it down into actionable steps. Skills are rarely mastered in a single leap. Break them into components and practice them deliberately. For example, public speaking involves voice control, body language, storytelling, and audience engagement. Work on each piece daily. Practice consistently. Skill mastery is not an event, it is a habit. Daily practice, even in small doses, compounds over time. 10 minutes a day of focused practice beats sporadic hours of effort. Remember, small actions repeated consistently lead to big results. Seek feedback and adjust. Confidence grows when you know not only what you do well, but also where you can improve. Constructive feedback is a tool for refinement, not criticism. Every adjustment is a step closer to mastery. Celebrate progress, not just perfection. Mastery is a journey, not a destination. Recognize each improvement, each small success, and allow it to fuel your belief in yourself. Consider the story of David, a young entrepreneur. He dreamed of starting his own company, but lacked confidence in his business skills. Instead of waiting for perfect knowledge, he committed to mastering one skill at a time. He studied marketing, learned financial management, and practiced leadership with small teams. Each skill he mastered gave him confidence in his abilities, and as his skills accumulated, so did his self-belief. When he finally launched his company, he did so not with blind hope, but with preparedness, competence, and confidence. Here's another key insight. Mastering yourself begins with mastering your skills. Every skill you acquire strengthens not only your competence, but also your discipline, patience, and perseverance. These qualities are as important as the skill itself. They teach you resilience, focus, and the ability to push through challenges, traits that define confident individuals. Let's take a practical example in daily life. Suppose you want to become confident in social interactions. Mastering this skill could involve learning active listening techniques, practicing clear and assertive communication, observing body language, and mirroring positive social cues. Engaging in small, intentional conversations daily. As you practice, you gain competence. Competence leads to self-trust. Self-trust creates calm and poise in social settings. Over time, social confidence becomes second nature because it is grounded in real, practiced ability, not just wishful thinking. Skill mastery also changes your mindset. When you know you are capable of learning, adapting, and improving, fear loses its power. Challenges no longer intimidate you, they excite you. You begin to see obstacles as opportunities to test and refine your skills, further building confidence. Finally, remember this: confidence built on skill is durable. Temporary motivation fades. Positive thinking alone is fragile, but the confidence that comes from being competent, prepared, and practice stands firm even under pressure. It is the kind of confidence that makes you calm in crisis, persuasive in meetings, and poised in life's most important moments. So start today. Identify one skill that matters most. Break it into actionable steps. Practice consistently. Seek feedback. Celebrate progress. And remember that as you master your skills, you are also mastering yourself, becoming stronger, more capable, and more confident each day. Confidence is not an accident. It is earned through discipline, practice, and deliberate skill building. Master yourself through mastery of your skills, and you will walk through life not just feeling confident, but knowing without a shadow of doubt that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. If there's one thing that stops most people from developing true self-confidence, it's the fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged, fear of looking foolish. But here's the truth: failure is not the enemy of confidence, it is its greatest teacher. Think about it. Every confident person you admire has failed. Many times they've faced setbacks, disappointments, and moments of doubt. What separates them from the rest is not the absence of failure, but their response to it. They embrace failure as feedback, as a guidepost, as a stepping stone to mastery and growth. And when you learn to see failure this way, self-confidence begins to rise naturally. Most people fear failure because they see it as a verdict on their worth. I failed, therefore I'm not capable. This mindset is dangerous and self-limiting. Confidence does not come from being perfect. It comes from knowing you can handle imperfection. Every failure, when viewed as feedback, becomes a lesson in resilience, creativity, and problem solving. Here's the principle in action when you try something new, something meaningful. Failure is inevitable. A new business venture may not succeed at first. A public speaking attempt may falter. A relationship conversation may go wrong. But each of these experiences provides invaluable information. What worked? What didn't? What can be improved? That knowledge, when acted upon, builds competence, and competence builds confidence. Let me tell you a story about James, a young entrepreneur. James launched his first startup with great enthusiasm, only to see it fail within a year. Most people would have given up. Many would have felt defeated, lost confidence, and concluded they weren't capable. But James chose a different path. He analyzed every mistake, sought advice, refined his strategy, and tried again. His second venture succeeded, not because he avoided failure, but because he learned from it. Each failure became a lesson, each lesson a foundation for greater confidence. To embrace failure as feedback, you need to reframe your mindset. Instead of thinking, I failed, think, I learned something valuable. Every setback becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. You start to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to grow stronger. Confidence grows not when life is easy, but when you develop the courage to face difficulty head on, learn from it, and persist. Here's another powerful insight. Failure teaches humility and self-awareness, which are essential for authentic confidence. People who are overconfident often avoid failure at all costs. They refuse challenges, hide their weaknesses, and cling to safety. True confidence, on the other hand, acknowledges limitations, seeks growth, and welcomes feedback. By embracing failure, you cultivate a balanced, resilient, and unshakable confidence. Now, let's talk about practical ways to use failure as feedback daily. Reflect after every setback. Ask yourself, what did I do well? What can I improve? What lesson can I carry forward? Write it down. Reflection turns failure into actionable insight. Separate self-worth from outcomes. Failing at a task does not make you a failure. Your value is intrinsic, independent of results. Take calculated risks regularly. Each small risk you take teaches you something new and builds confidence over time. Celebrate effort, not just success. Confidence grows when you recognize your courage to try, regardless of the outcome. Consider personal growth. If you want to become a better communicator, you will stumble. You will say the wrong thing. You will be misunderstood. But each misstep is a lesson. Each lesson teaches you how to adjust your approach, refine your words, and gain confidence in future interactions. Failure also develops perseverance, the quiet, steady force that turns ordinary people into remarkable achievers. Confidence without perseverance is fragile. But when you learn to persist through failure, you develop a deep internal assurance that nothing can shake your self-belief. Here's a final story to bring this principle home. A young woman named Rachel dreamed of becoming a professional artist. Her first exhibitions were rejected, and she felt discouraged. But instead of giving up, she asked for critiques, studied her craft, and practiced daily. Each rejection became feedback, guiding her to refine her style and technique. 5 years later, Rachel's work was recognized nationally, and she exhibited in galleries across the country. Her confidence didn't come from instant success. It came from learning, adapting, and embracing failure as feedback. Remember this: every failure is a classroom. Life will challenge you, tests will come, and mistakes are inevitable. But when you change your perspective and treat failure as feedback, you remove fear and build a foundation for lasting confidence. You learn, you grow, and with each lesson, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. So start today. Take action, risk failure, and treat setbacks as valuable lessons. Speak to yourself with encouragement when things go wrong. Reflect, adjust, and persist. With each failure embraced as feedback, you will notice your confidence growing, not shrinking. You will start to move through life with a calm, unshakable belief in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Confidence is not the absence of failure. It is the courage to fail, learn, and rise stronger every time. Embrace this principle and nothing will stop you. There is one universal truth about confidence that most people ignore. You rarely feel ready before taking action. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstance, or for fear to vanish. And that moment never comes. Confidence is not a feeling. It is a result of action. You act, and in doing so, confidence is born. Think about it. Every person you admire, every leader, every entrepreneur, every master in their field, they didn't wait until they felt ready. They took action first. They learned on the go. They adapted, adjusted, and grew through experience. Waiting for readiness is the enemy of progress. Acting before you feel ready is the catalyst for self-confidence. Here's why this works. Confidence is created by doing. The mind cannot wait for a feeling to justify an action. If you wait for feeling confident, you may wait forever. Action precedes feeling. The more you act, the more evidence your mind gathers that you are capable. That evidence transforms hesitation into assurance, uncertainty into clarity, and fear into courage. Let me share a story. There was a man named Alex who dreamed of starting his own company. He wanted everything perfect, funding secured, skills polished, market fully studied, but he kept waiting. Months passed, and nothing happened. One day, he realized that waiting for readiness was just an excuse. He decided to take one small step, launch a minimum viable product, just enough to test the idea. He acted even though he didn't feel ready. And through that action, he learned, adapted, and gained confidence. Within a year, Alex's company was thriving. He didn't wait for readiness. He created it through action. This principle applies to every area of life, career, relationships, health, and personal growth. Want to speak in public? Don't wait until you feel fearless. Start with a small speech, a 5-minute talk, a conversation in a meeting. Want to write a book? Don't wait until inspiration hits. Begin with 1 page today. Want to improve your fitness? Don't wait until you have motivation or energy. Take one small step, a short walk, a single workout, a healthy meal. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Here's a powerful mindset shift. Feelings follow action, not the other way around. Most people get it backwards. They think, I will act when I feel ready. This is a trap. Readiness is a product of engagement, not a precondition. The more you engage, the more you gain competence. The more competence you gain, the more you trust yourself. And trust is confidence. Let's break this down into practical steps. Commit to one action today, no matter how small. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Just act. Focus on progress, not perfection. The first step is rarely flawless. That's okay. Learning happens through doing. Reflect on results and adjust. Action produces feedback. Use it to grow, improve, and reinforce your belief in yourself. Repeat consistently. Confidence compounds when you act regularly, even in small ways. Each step builds momentum. Consider personal relationships. Maybe you want to ask someone out, have a difficult conversation, or connect with a mentor. You might feel nervous, hesitant, or not ready. But the only way to gain confidence in handling these situations is to act first. You speak, you engage, you take the risk. Each experience teaches you something new, and each lesson strengthens your self-assurance. Here's another story. Emily wanted to run a marathon, but she felt she wasn't ready. She doubted her stamina, her training, and her discipline. Instead of waiting, she acted. She ran a single mile the first day, then 2 miles the next. Slowly, her confidence grew. She learned through action that she was capable of far more than she imagined. By the time the marathon arrived, she wasn't just ready, she was confident, experienced, and empowered. The key insight here is that confidence is a consequence of action, not anticipation. Waiting for courage, motivation, or readiness is a form of procrastination. Action creates courage. Action creates confidence. Action creates momentum. Momentum is what turns nervous hesitation into unshakable confidence. This principle also reinforces all the previous keynotes. When you start small, you are already taking action. When you speak to yourself with power, action validates your words. When you step out of your comfort zone, action strengthens courage. When you master your skills, action produces growth. When you embrace failure as feedback, action is how lessons are learned. And in every case, acting before you feel ready ensures that confidence is earned, not wished for. So, start today. Take one action, even a small one, without waiting for readiness. Speak up, try something new, face a fear, or practice a skill. Feel the fear, acknowledge it, and act anyway. Each action is a building block. Each block strengthens your confidence. And over time, you will notice something incredible. The very act of taking initiative, of moving forward despite uncertainty, transforms you. You become someone who doesn't wait for permission, validation, or perfect conditions. You become a confident, capable, unstoppable person. Remember, confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It is a habit you create through action. Act before you feel ready, and your life will change in ways you never imagined. With this, Your full speech is complete, including start small, win big, speak to yourself with power, step out of your comfort zone daily, master your skills, master yourself, embrace failure as feedback, act before you feel ready. Each keynote builds logically and emotionally on the previous, creating a comprehensive roadmap for daily actions that cultivate lasting self-confidence.